So the first thing I'm going to do is convert that percentage rate to a multiplier. So if my rate is 1.14, if I just, the multiplier is going to be 1.0114. Okay, so that's what it is as a decimal. So we start with 7.23 billion. I don't need to put billion in, I can put it at the end. And I'm going to multiply that by the multiplier. And in between 2014 and 2020 is 6 years. So that's the calculation you're going to do. Gives you an answer of 7.7388 billion. So you're not told to round to three significant figures, 7.74. Notice their explanation here, it's just the same, it's a different way of getting the same answer for the multiplier. So that's where we got 1.0114 from. That has the same value. This part here is 1.0114. So whichever way you want to do it, that's the multiplier you need to use. So this part of the question sneaked in under the radar, and the reason why it shouldn't have been on the test is to solve it you need to use logarithms, which is not something we cover in this course. That course being iGCSE mathematics. It is covered later on in IB, and in IB you can use logs or you could use your GDC. No one will be penalised for getting this wrong. If you do manage to answer this question correctly, that's awesome. You also won't be penalised. If you're not interested in how to solve it, fine. If you are, here goes and how you solve using logarithms. So, form an equation. We know that the population starts at 7.23 billion. We know that it increases by 1.14% a year, which is a multiplier is that. And the unknown here is an exponent, hence why we have to use logarithms. And we want to know how long it takes to reach 10 billion. Okay, well, you may have been able to do the first step. The first thing I'm going to do is to get rid of times by 7.23. I divide by 7.23. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to evaluate it because I'll introduce a rounding error. Now, some of you may have got to this stage and then you've probably been stuck because you've never done anything like this before. So if I take logs of both sides, now logs are to do with exponents. I'm just going to leave it at that for the time being. And the beauty about logs is that exponent can now be written as a coefficient. In this case, I don't change the right hand side. So now I want to find x, and x is being multiplied by log 1.0014. We don't know what that is. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, because I can just divide everything by that. So I already had log of 10 over 7.23, and now I do log 1.0114. Now some of you will probably be able to tap that into your calculator, and if you do that, you get 28.61 years. Now, if you rounded that would be 29 years, but at this point it's not actually up to 29 years, so it's only actually 28 years later. Okay, and that's 28 years later than 2015. Adding those together, you get 2042. Now, the only other way to do that, not knowing logs, would be trial and error, but you're going to have to do that quite a few times to be able to do that, and that is not going to be efficient use of your time, especially as it's only worth 2 marks.